And here we are.
Here we are.
We are live, and welcome everybody. And we are back. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Liz.
And welcome to another episode of Random Tan Experience. We're on a summer schedule here at the Tan House, and so kids are up all over the place at all hours and super exhausted. So you're gonna kind of hear one in the background there who doesn't really want to go to bed. You know, protesting all the way, but he's tired. Like he is super tired.
Exhausted.
So, you know,
But,
so you're gonna kind of hear one in the background there. I just gotta, there we go. So,
so anyway, work from home entrepreneurs
parents of 9
and
homeschoolers that, like I said, on a summer schedule. And, you know, so these are the summer episodes of the rain. We just got back from an amazing week away. Every year we go on a retreat, a family retreat, called Cana Colony. It's a full week long, and we get to spend you know, time with some really great other really great families, and you know, we've met, you know, some really good people over the years, and this year especially you know, it's no different. So we met, you know, so shout out to everybody, you know, that we saw this year at this year. So,
and Cana is an apostolate run by the Madonna House community,
and
which is in Combermere,
Ontario,
and founded by Catherine Doherty.
Yeah, and we've talked about her a little bit, you know, over the past couple of episodes, just in terms of some of her spirituality and how it really works for us as a family, because you know, it's amazing. Parent age is not easy, you know, and you know, running a family in a household in today's day and age isn't easy, and you know, and society tends to put, you know, all sorts of different pressures and you know, and ideas into our heads, but sometimes they don't lead to happiness, or they don't lead to the stress-free life that they you know, it seems to promise. Anyway, so finding a spirituality that we could adhere to has really been beneficial to us.
And Catherine's spirituality was really in contrast to many religious communities that were founded by other great people through the centuries, where they really focused on separating yourself from the world and just focusing solely on God with no distractions. Catherine did her spirituality on Nazareth and those hidden years of Jesus' life, where he was living ordinary life, and in the home and in the marketplace, and finding God in all the people that we serve and in all the people who serve us, and really getting to the heart of people.
Actually, probably one of these episodes we'll be talking about the little mandate, actually. So that might be you know, so anyway, keep tuned for that, you know, for a future episode. And I don't know if you guys ever noticed these Easter eggs that we have here behind us, but you know, here's a little picture of Our Lady of Combermere right here, so you can you know, you can look her up and look up that story. So so that's awesome. So yeah.
Now, one of the things about going to Cana is that it's
very rustic.
It's very rustic, and it's in a part of Ontario that is very rocky and sandy.
Very sandy.
Which the kids love.
Yeah, and one of the great things about Cana Colony is they have this massive sand pit. Honest to goodness, like I think, you know, at some point somebody must have dug a hole and they brought like dump trucks in to dump sand into this hole, because the kids were digging.
And every year the joke is that the kids are going to dig to China.
Yeah, and this year really, like, I mean, they you know, I have never seen in the 11 years that we've been going up there you know, a hole this deep. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one, but it was deep.
Several kids in it.
Yeah, like it was
at least a number of kids were in the hole,
and you know, like and below grade, like their heads were below grade. You know, so it was very, very deep. Like it was at least 4 feet deep. Like it was really, really.
I think it was about shoulder height on our oldest. He got down.
Oh, really? Yeah. So
yeah, he jumped down into the hole.
Yeah, so that's at least
I think it was up around here.
Yeah. So
yeah.
And he's almost 6 foot. So I mean, yeah. So it's probably about 5 feet deep.
Yeah.
For sure. So yeah. So it's really, anyway. So that produces a lot of laundry. Okay, and tons and tons and tons of laundry. So we've been spending the last couple days,
4 days
doing laundry because 11 people generate a lot of laundry anyway.
Yeah, 11 people away for a week with no access to washing machine does generate a lot of laundry.
Yeah.
And then when you add the dirt factor and the fact that there isn't really much bathing opportunity other than the lake.
Mm-hmm.
They have baby baths for the babies, but the toddler doesn't necessarily sit in one of those very well. So the toddler's feet tend to leave footprints on everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes those feet get sticky with juice or iced tea or ice cream.
Yep.
And then they pick up more dirt.
Yeah. The thing about Cana Colony is that like it's very, very rustic. Like when we say rustic, the first time that we went, it really taught us how, well, for me anyway, a real appreciation for everything that we have, but a real also appreciation for the way that things were and how you can make things work. Like how you can make things work without a lot of the amenities that we have today. So it's a very interesting paradox, the community, because it's not that they reject technology. In fact, they welcome it. Catherine Doherty, really welcomed the use of technology, especially, things to record, and she has like lots and lots of lectures and lots of recordings, of her. She used to be a speaker. So it was really good for recording a lot of her words of wisdom, her theology even. So for example, Madonna House, the juxtaposition of living a very simple and rustic life, they have, like, the community lives off, like, grows their own food, right? So they grow their own food, they grow their own vegetables and and whatnot for the community.
Have their own cows.
They have their own cows.
Make their own cheese. Really
good cheese. Yeah. And Cana Colony is very, very rustic. There's, like, you have these cabins, but the cabins don't have lights, so they have lanterns with battery powered LED lanterns, right? So there you go. So there's one juxtaposition. They have no flush toilet, so we're all using outhouses, but they're solar powered outhouses. What does that mean?
Like
a
solar powered fan
that vents the
vents the exhaust from the outhouse.
Exactly. Yeah. So and it really makes a difference. So keeps them smelling fresh, not fresh, but like
but fresher than many.
But fresher than many. Yeah. Right. So. So it's kind of funny, you go to this place and you see these outhouses and they got solar panels on the roof, and what's up with that. But it's if you ever have a chance, look up Madonna House, especially if you have a family, and look it up. It's a great experience. I know probably part of our description might not be making it too appealing, but
we love it, and we go back as often as
and
we
our
can.
Kids love it.
Yeah.
Our kids love it, and they keep asking to go back.
Kids ask to go, and the kids talk about it all year, and then they ramping up to the next one. They're talking about all the stuff they're going to do and the friends they're going to make and who they're going to meet.
Yeah, so it's amazing, right? So it's really amazing. So just the last note on post-camping laundry, though. We've mentioned before, one of our favorite things. So we were making our own soap detergent for a long time. It's a great little recipe. It takes some borax, some washing soda, and a couple of bars of soap. Mm-hmm. But recently we just switched to pink solution, which you can get at Costco. Mm-hmm. It's about $50 for a case about this big, but
It's a bucket.
It's a bucket, but
That big-ish.
But it's a concentrated solution. So you take half a cup of it and then mix it in a full 4 liters, almost 4 liters worth of water, and it makes, again, maybe about a month's worth of. Well, maybe 2 weeks for us.
Yeah,
2 weeks for us.
Particularly after Cana.
No, but it makes about 2 weeks worth of laundry for us, which is kind of a month's worth of laundry for everybody else.
For many else, yeah.
So it is a great deal, and
it works really well.
And you can actually replace.
I've actually taken out black Sharpie from a white carpet.
Oh yeah.
With pink solution.
Yeah.
And I've taken ballpoint pen off of a fabric couch with pink solution.
Yeah. So it works
really well. As long as the stain
well.
is fresh.
One of the goals of the company, actually, they say on it, is to they want to be able to replace all of the household cleaners in your house, all the chemical household cleaners in the house, with their product. And so far, we've actually been finding it really work really well.
A lot of uses.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's our plug for Pink Solution. And yeah, no, we're not getting compensated, but
no.
We just tell
really
it
like Pink Solution.
Yeah. So we just, and telling it like it is. So if it works for us, it's going to work for you. So one of the other cool things that we did this year, actually driving back from Cana, is we're into a new season of life where Gavin is now our oldest. He has his driver's license. He has his G2. We have a graduated licensing system here in Ontario. So you get your learner's permit, which is called a G1, and then you get your G2, which means that you're allowed to drive, but there are certain restrictions. Like you can't drive between midnight and 5 with
passengers other than your family.
Right. So, there's a couple of really good restrictions, with your G2, and then after that you get your G. But it also means that Gavin can drive. Mm-hmm. So one of our past episodes, I think we were talking about, the vehicles that we get asked a lot about, the vehicles that we drive. Mm-hmm. And what we drive is a 2008 Honda Odyssey, which seats 8.
Seats 8.
Yeah, it seats 8. And we drive also a 2010 Honda Fit that sits 5. And when we're going anywhere together as a family, we take 2 vehicles.
Both vehicles, yeah. Because there's 11 of us.
But a lot of times,
sometimes 12.
Yeah, sometimes 12, and sometimes we don't need both vehicles all the time. But when we're going together, we take 2 vehicles. So for the past 5 years, we've been driving. So I've been driving one, and Liz has been driving the other. Mm-hmm. But now that Gavin's started to drive,
he gets a lot of errand duty.
Yeah, so he gets to drive around, and then
on the way home from Cana, he drove a vehicle, and we got to sit in the car and chat.
Yeah, so
during a drive,
which we haven't been able to do for the past 5 years, right?
Yeah.
So, which is awesome. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about raising teens and some of the insights that we've had about raising teens. Over the past couple of years, also too, in my experience in youth ministry, and because a lot of people are like, oh, are you, how do you feel now that Gavin's driving and all this kind of stuff? And I wasn't worried about it, partly because we've made a lot of effort. We've taken a lot of effort to make sure that we surround them with good examples. Mm-hmm. Good examples of good people. There's plenty of examples of there's plenty of bad examples out there, and that's fine. But you have to, as a parent, you need to take the time and make the effort to surround them, to expose them to good examples, mm-hmm. to good people.
And then give them opportunities to practice good decision making.
Mm-hmm. And not just when they're teenagers, like right from when they're kids. Right from when they're young, and have these discussions about decision making, as they grow, because, like they say, you can't, the time to fix a roof is not when it's raining, right? Yeah. Like when it's raining, it's too late to fix the roof. You got to fix it when it's sunny, mm-hmm. right? so when you're raising your kids, having these discussions with your kids about good decision making, and then carrying them on as you get older, super important.
Yeah. And we've found so far that given the opportunity, they rise to the occasion. They rise to the hopes and the expectations that we have for now. I mean, we're only on our first couple of teenagers.
Yeah.
It's not to say
of our own, right? Of our own.
It's not to say we won't have bigger challenges, but we keep up surrounding them with good examples and counting on.
And we have had our challenges, right? We have had
we've had challenges.
We've had challenges, and we've had had to have discussions, and but I think one of the interesting things that came up over our week in our parent discussions were, was that it's not, our society thinks that it's unavoidable for teens to rebel, and a few of us, ourselves included, are of the mind that no, it's not necessarily unavoidable. I mean, society thinks that all teens are going to rebel, but we don't think that it's necessarily true for that.
There are some that are secure. I mean, I think a lot of rebellion comes from a sense of insecurity and needing to test, to find, to rebel in order to try and find a sense of strength. But some of them can develop that sense of strength without having to have a fight to learn it.
Yeah. So, and that takes a lot of conscious effort on our part. That takes a lot of work. But parenting is work, and that's the work of parenting. Parenting takes effort. A lot of our system now, especially here, we tend to, as parents, parent, through proxy, right? So, like, they abdicate. A lot of parents will drop their kids off at school, or drop their kids off at daycare, and then it's surprising actually how many parents out there will drop their kids, at daycare and expect them to learn manners at daycare instead of, trying to teach that at home. And I get it. Some parents are really busy, and some, but the fact of the matter is, there's a large group of our population now that has almost forgotten how to parent. So anyway, so that's
and no one else has. There's something that we learned at Madonna House about the grace of state. So we as parents are given the grace to model for our children and to teach our children, whereas other people who are not in that parenting position don't have that grace. And so they will learn best from the ones they know who love them most. That makes sense.
Yeah. And while we're listening to our kids make huge, well, at least they're laughing right now. So at least they're laughing. So that's fine. I'll take it. Right. So just, allowing them to make good choices, allowing kids to make good choices, from when they're young to when they're, teenagers, constant talking and teaching, constant communication. And you also have to work on your own personal development.
Yeah.
You
have to be willing to apologize when you've made a mistake. Because we're all human, we all make mistakes.
Yeah, and your kids, your kids have to watch you making the effort to make yourself a better person as well.
Yeah.
We're constantly reading, personal development books. We're reading. Yeah. Okay. So, well, she's just gonna do some parenting, but we're always reading, wisdom books or personal development books or something, to help us to improve our mindset, improve our outlook, and maybe give us a little bit of a different perspective. And our kids watch us doing that, right? So our kids watch us reading these books and taking these steps to make yourselves better people. And your kids will model you. right? Your kids will model what you do. So, you know, I would love to have my kids read more, but you know, hopefully in the future they'll, you know, they'll pick more up. So anyway, so that's that. So the next thing that we were going to talk about tonight is meal prepping for camping. So they're all quiet now. So I think.
Well, yes, the toddler is upset because he's hot.
Oh.
Because the sweater that he desperately wants to wear is making him hot.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah, it's like 35 degrees outside and he's wearing a sweater.
He wants a sweater.
You know, and we have air conditioning on the house, but I mean, still, it's not, right? Anyway, so we're going to talk about camping meal prep. So how do we meal prep for, you know, for an extended trip away, you know, especially camping. Now, before I see, my view of camping has changed over the years. Actually, I'm, you know, and I'm the hardcore camper. Like I'm, you know, right. I'm the guy who went out with, you know, a Swiss Army knife, a tarp, and a can of beans. Okay. Like that was my style of camping. So, you know, and I remember thinking, man, you know, sleeping bag, you know, sleeping mat, ground sheet, you know, oh, wimps, right? Yeah. So I, you know, but, you know, as I've become more seasoned as a camper, my outlook has changed a little bit.
Also, as he's become married.
Yeah. So that, you know, that too, right? So first of all, camping gear has gotten way, way better over the years. It's gotten really, really good. So you can get some really good camping gear for really affordable, you know, really affordable prices now.
Yeah. And really neat, like
stuff. Really cool stuff. Really, really cool stuff, right? Yeah. So anyway, one of the tips that we have is to freeze, to prep and to freeze your meals beforehand.
Yes. Now this works particularly for us because where we go, there's a freezer. Well,
at Cana, there's a freezer.
At Cana, there's a freezer. Yeah. Now, at other times, what we've done before Cana, BC, when we were doing more camping out in provincial parks in tents, what we would do is cook meals that are like, say, like a chili or like a tomato sauce that you're going to serve with pasta, and freeze it in a Nalgene bottle, which is like a 1 liter food safe bottle with a wide mouth that you can also safely boil in water. So you make your meal ahead of time, put it in the bottle, and then freeze the whole thing so it becomes your ice block. So for the first couple of days of camping, it's keeping everything else cold. If you have access to buying a bag of ice a day, then we would buy a bag of ice a day, but that would stay frozen in a solid block for a good couple of days.
We went on
along with
9. Yeah, we went on
a
9-day
stuff in your cooler.
Yeah, we went on that 9-day.
Yeah, we did
trip.
A 9-day trip.
Yeah,
and then what you do is as those things thaw, then you reheat them and serve them that day, and then just replace the ice. But we found with what we could bring dry and what we brought frozen, we were able to pack for a 9-day.
Yeah, for a 9-day trip. You know, and not have to run out for extra groceries or anything like that.
I think we might have picked up milk at one point.
Maybe. Yeah.
When we bought ice.
Yeah.
But generally, everything we freeze. And now what we do is because when we're going to Cana and they have fridges and freezers available in the cook shack, is I will actually spend a full day cooking a week's worth of meals, and then freeze it in foil trays.
Oh yeah, so that's another thing too. Yeah, so freezing them in, freezing the meals beforehand in foil trays.
Yeah, and then when we're up there, because there's a fully stocked kitchen available for use, but you just need to bring and cook your own food on it. But we find that we really like the social time and the time to just be able to spend with people. So we do a lot of our meals ahead of time now. Pre-cook, pre-freeze, and then all we have to do is pop them in the oven.
Yeah, and these tips still apply to if you're just going to be camping in a provincial park as well, right? Because your frozen meals, it's amazing how long they'll last in the cooler, and they will serve as your ice pack. For
your milk and your
produce and stuff, for a good couple of days, and then you can plan to have that meal later on in the trip. If you're going for a long time, you might want to consider, we sometimes bring some canned foods and stuff. Now, in terms of, this is where, my idea for gear has changed, because I used to have, ultralight plates and stainless steel, really cool stuff. But what we're going to do, because we're going to be going on a family camping trip in a couple of weeks, is we're going to use paper plates. Paper plates and disposable compost. You can get this compostable plastic cutlery, if you want to be environmentally friendly, or just plain plastic cutlery, and you can recycle it, right? So but paper plates, which are compostable. Now,
compostable, or they become the kindling for your next fire.
But I'm gonna caveat that, especially if you're in an area that has a lot of bears, I wouldn't recommend burning the paper plates in an area with lots of bears, because the food smell lingers for a long time, and it does still attract animals, to your campsite. So just if you're, which is not good. So if you're camping and using paper plates, still make sure that you put them in a bear bag, or a bear, we have these blue barrels, so they're bear proof, and so animal proof, that, so you'd have we would put them into the blue barrel, in a compostable bag, and then pack it out. If you're in an area with with a lot of wildlife, but otherwise, you can go ahead and burn it, and just make sure that's really, really incinerated, and really well done. So those are our tips, and it's coming up to the top of the hour.
Already.
And if we don't sign off soon, we're going to get interrupted by the chime of the clock.
Yes, we will.
So
have a good night, everybody.
And we'll talk to you next week.